In the last video, we spoke about the importance of the EU AI Act and how it was very relevant and how we believe that it's going to create new job roles in the tech market. We looked about at a couple of other certifications in the past, like the PCI DSS, ISO 27001, COBIT, amongst others, that are less than 20 years old, 10, 15 years old, 10, 20 years old. And they have created new opportunities in the industry. And we are seeing that these AI governance requirements will also create a couple of opportunities in the industry. So today we're going to look at just a few of them. Now, these are not the roles that AI is creating. I'm going to do a bigger video on that one. AI roles and what they're going to do and the market roles, what kind of opportunities are going to emerge in that one. But for now, we are focusing on the compliance rules that will be created through the EU AI law. So the first one is the auditors. Of course, what are auditors? Auditors are the people who call you, ask for your watch, and then tell you the time. They would look at what you have, assess you according to a couple of parameters, and then tell you whether you have done well or not well. We also have cybersecurity professionals who are a bit more hands-on in ensuring that the things that are required are in place. Then we have the governance and compliance specialists who may not be too technical, like the auditors also, and the risk management professionals and other roles that might come up. So the plan is that these skills require you to shift your way of thinking. They require you to evaluate how things are done, and they are required to learn new skills. When you learn these new skills, because it's AI, not many people still understand it. It's still new, it's still nascent. It puts you ahead of the industry. So if you're an auditor today, you are not an AI auditor. So learning AI auditing is a new skill. You'll be in the top X% of people, of auditors. If you're a cybersecurity professional, learning cybersecurity for AI puts you a notch above all the other cybersecurity professionals. And that's what we're talking about over here. So let's take a look at some of these professions and what they offer. So like we said, we have the auditors, which will include auditing data pipelines, model logic, fairness metrics. We now begin to have ethical AI auditors roles, AI auditor roles. In cybersecurity, we begin to have responsible AI security analysts, responsible AI security engineer, begin to have AI governance lead, permit me, AI compliance manager, responsible AI officer, because governance is something that's very critical. And then we have risk management. We start having to have, we begin to have, permit me, AI risk managers, algorithm risk analysts. And then there are other roles like AI ethicists, AI responsible AI program managers, or just an AI program manager. And then, of course, roles like the AI transparency and explainability specialists. So let's talk about the AI auditor. We have a challenge today that nobody understands what is going on in AI systems. And we need to understand, and one of the requirements of the AI Law Act is transparency. So somebody needs to understand what's going on in the system. If your system is a loan approval system, how does it approve the loan or deny the loan? Somebody needs to check with a magnifying glass and make sure that it's done properly. Now, Today, we have accountants, we have auditors, but many of them don't understand IT. Sometimes we have model poisoning, we have data poisoning. Data could be manipulated. How do we ensure that your data is not manipulated? So we need to ensure that your inputs are also designed properly. So somebody needs to do all that hard work and analyze them. Of course, based on metrics, but you need to even understand the systems. You need to understand how these things work. So an AI auditor will be somebody who's going to do something like this for you. It's a skill that requires an intersection of data, AI, and cybersecurity. It requires the fair understanding of AI machine learning. It also requires the knowledge of AI governance frameworks and the ability to interpret AI outputs and discern potential biases or errors. So you need to understand that, oh, if your system evaluates things like this, or if this is the reasoning approach that your system does or uses or leverages to get stuff done, then this is not correct. So is it transparent enough? Just imagine you have a customer or a provider, service provider, who goes into a dark room to do stuff you don't understand what he's doing, and then comes out and tells you this is what he's done. Many times you need to see what's going on, and this is the role that will do that for you. We have the AI security engineer and specialist who does a lot of these things for you. He guides you. Let's come back to the AI security engineer. We have the AI governance specialist. The AI governance specialist requires that you are able to give guidelines and on data protection, algorithmic transparency, accountability, and human oversight, which means if you have compliance processes, somebody needs to understand all those things. And all these things are simple to say. Monitoring lifecycle systems of the AI platform, all these things are simple to say, but somebody needs to really sit down and understand it. Now, somebody needs to create policies, and somebody needs to understand what the policies are, and somebody needs to interpret those policies to us. Now, if we do not have somebody who understands all these things, it's a problem. It might not necessarily be a lawyer, but there's some level of legal capacity inside here. So we also have the AI governance and compliance specialist. These roles are the ones that allow you to understand those laws, build the management frameworks, build the policies, leverage the bigger law, and adapt it to the organization to say, this is what the law says, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In this organization, we are required to focus on 1, 2, 4, and 5, or 1, 3, and 4, as the case may be. They translate it, and then the law is a document of 50 pages. They translate it into 3, 4 policies. Safe AI use policy, AI security policy, and all that. That is the work of the AI governance and compliance specialist. We have the risk manager. Oh, and the skills, yes. For the skills, you need to understand the laws, which are the AI Act, GDPR. You need to be good at developing policies. It sounds simple until you begin to do the work. And then you need to be able to do tech and legal. So legal says, the law says this. How do we implement it technically? Those kind of things. Okay, same for the risk manager. It's a little bit similar to the compliance specialist, but the risk manager is at a higher level. You need to understand the law, you need to know what is going on, and you need to ensure that you understand it and applies to organizational objectives. And the risk manager thinks at a bigger level. So, is this thing going to cost us money? Is this thing going to affect our reputation? Do we need to insure this thing? What are the various things that we need to know or put in place for this? That is the level of thinking the risk manager has. So The risk manager has the skills that the governance and compliance specialist has, but more than that, he also has skills that allow him to know the financial, legal, reputational implications for the organization. Now, we have other roles like the ethicists. These are the people who make sure that the AI projects are according to what is required. Now, of course, some of these roles bleed into each other, but many times they may stand alone, depending on the size of the organization. These are responsible people these are your people who make sure that the data is handled properly. Now, these guys are focused on data. What are we doing about data? What are we doing? What's the data governance requirement? Who is handling what? Who is doing this? Who are we talking to here and there? All these things are the things that the data ethicist focuses on. For this, you need legal knowledge, you need policy knowledge, you need data analytics knowledge, you need communication knowledge. Here, you need to understand machine learning algorithms. When we are talking about classification, clustering, we need to ensure that all those things are done properly. You need to know some coding. You need to understand a lot of things going on. Now, the program managers are the coordinators of everything. So you have your risk manager, you have the ethicist, you have the governance. Each person has his own silo. Each person has his own silo. That is a little bit different from the program manager. He needs to have end-to-end understanding. And sometimes he is the representative of the executive sponsor in the business. So in program manager roles, sometimes you decide how the software eventually works or how the AI platform eventually works. In my daily work as a program manager, I still work with the various teams and I tell them what I want. I tell them what the customer wants. And I let the owner of the development platforms or the governance guys see things the way the owner is going to see it. Many times when you begin to have an auditor or you begin to have an ethicist, they are thinking in the silo of their expertise. You would, as a program manager, need to have a fair idea of what that person does and still be able to translate it to say, no, it's not as bad as you're thinking. Somebody might say, oh, we need this to work this way, because when it works this way, we will be able to get this result and we'll be able to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things. And because we need it to work in this way, we are not able to progress. But you knowing, having the knowledge, will be able to say, no, this requirement that you are making such a road stopper or a road blocker or a showstopper is not as critical as you think it is. Look at it from this perspective. If you look at it from this perspective, it's not as bad as you are making it sound. So let me just digress a little. There's a project I'm working on where we need to upload historical documents. And the developer and the business guy come back and say, we needed to have some upload documents. And we said, we need to have 2 dates when we're uploading. There is the activity dates, the date that activity took place, and then the date that they are uploading the report. And the developer and the product guys came back and said, oh, we can't do this because we cannot start extracting the activity date from the document. We need to have OCR and everything. And then I myself, as the program manager and product lead, said, no, that's not as complicated. We are going to have to pick the date, create a field, they pick the dates, they pick the document. We would trust them that they will not mix this up. And if we can trust them well enough that they won't mix this up, then we're good to go. We don't need to pick the date from inside the document. That would have been the best, but we can't do that. So let's let them pick the date and pick the document. And in 2 days, the feature was ready. Now, if we didn't have a program manager who was having overarching rules and perspective of that, that would have been a problem. The project will have stalled forever. So in this same way, if we are having an AI project, they might be thinking of making a complicated PhD professor's level algorithm. Well, you can say, yeah, we need AI, but it doesn't have to be this complicated. And at the same time, they might say, oh, we want to do it this way, it's fast, and you have to insist that, no, this is what the law says, this is the requirement, and this is what it means. And this is how it will look like in the software. So this, as you can see in the image, it's a conductor. You have the AI department, you have the string department, you have the wind department, all sorts of guys that you have to coordinate and guide together. This is one of the most exciting roles if you are not technical. So this organizational role will require you to have a vast level of expertise. Unfortunately, you have to chase adults to do their work. That's what I say here. If you have project management skills, it's important because you are going to relate it to money. And then, of course, you are going to have critical thinking skills, data literacy skills. And on one today, you'll be talking to the tech guys, maybe to be able to talk effectively to the tech guys. Tomorrow, you are talking to the business guys. You need to be able to talk effectively to the business guys and not get any of them lost in either scenario. So it's a very, very powerful role that will be good to have. Lastly, we have the AI transparency and explainability specialists. These roles are similar to the compliance roles, but sometimes you might need to, these are more like your UI UX guys, user interface guys, that allow you to make sure that things are broken down easily. And they are somewhere in between the UI UX, technical documentation, technical writing guys. And they are also like supporting the program. So designing the software, making sure the results are good, making sure you are having quality output, and all those kind of things along the line. It's a very, very simple role, but it's critical that we have it in the system. And these are some of the roles. So we now go back to the cybersecurity role. Now, the deep the AI security engineer, which is also the AI cybersecurity engineer, is that engineer that is responsible for ensuring that your system is consistently secure. They are the ones who ensure that you are having your environment and infrastructure well structured. They are the ones that have the firewalls in place. They ensure that you are doing the vulnerability assessment. They're ensuring that there are no viruses. They're ensuring that the perimeter is secure. They're ensuring that people cannot penetrate into your system. They cannot hack your system, and they cannot mess up your data, and your data is safe and all this kind of stuff. Very, very critical, very, very important, because if they don't secure your perimeter, then there's a lot of things that could go wrong. And for them to do this, it takes more than normal cybersecurity skills. Somebody needs to sit to understand how AI cybersecurity works, data security, model security, how to secure AI models, how to secure a lot of things. So it's very critical that people are managing this, and it's a skill that people can develop. Now, this skill is more than network security and all those other skills that we have. It's a skill that requires you to be up and doing in terms of a lot of security and AI related matters. So very, very critical and very, very important. Okay, now we've gone round. What are the ripple effects of this um, law? The law has, like we said, is the first one, and it has started having effects. We call it a Brussels effect. We call it start having effects, like we have started seeing laws in Colorado. We've seen laws from in the United States from Joe Biden. He created a law, and we are beginning to see all this AI auditor and all these rules. We are seeing things that the US is not having a consolidated requirement, but we are beginning to see laws springing up. We are seeing in Canada, they are having their AIDA Act, which aligns with, it takes stuff from the EU. And of course, in the UK, they have a very comprehensive one that they've started developing, but they have chosen to go with sectors and verticals rather than have one single one, which is a very wise approach. In Asia, we are seeing stuff from Japan, Singapore, and China has recently released something. So whether you like it or not, this is not only if you are in the global west or global north, even in the south, you are going to start seeing a lot of things like this happening. And a lot of professionals don't have the skills. A lot of professionals are lacking skills. 65% of projects are already being abandoned because there's nobody to do it. So there's a lot to be done in terms of skills, certification, AI literacy, networking. There's a lot to be done in terms of many, many things to be learned. So as someone, what should you do? You need to understand your niche. Are you the person who likes to understand laws and translate them to technical requirements? Or are you the technical guy who's going to be a cybersecurity person or a data ethicist? Or are you going to take the law and comprehend it? For me personally, I don't like reading large volumes of stuff. I love to read, but if I have to start reading things and then start saying page 45 said, page 67 said, chapter 22 said, that's really not me. I would read the whole stuff and tell you what it's about, summarized, give you good information. But when you are looking for somebody who's going to look for the needle in the haystack, that's not me. So there are some roles I'm not going to do. And of course, sometimes these require some antecedent skills that you can leverage on to get you to where you're going. So there are certifications that are required. There are things that you need to learn. There are things that you need to do. And there are things that you need to know. When you're able to take all those things up, it allows you to be able to get into the right positions. So we have the risk certifications. We have the PECB certified AI manager. We have the Georgetown certificate in AI, also many certifications. I'm going to show you a learning path shortly. And then, of course, you need to connect with people in the industry, because that also is going to help you know what to do and where to go. Okay, so here are some career paths that you need to consider when you want to take some of these roles. So like you can see, we have the AI auditor, which I've explained to you before. There are some certifications. You will get this document as a PDF in the course area. There are some certifications that you can take here. And then these key skills are skills here that allow you to, these key skills here allow you to, they allow you to be able to know what courses or what skills you need to have, like the technical skills, the non-technical skills, the auditing skills, the critical thinking, the communication skills, the foundational skills, log analysis, understanding the AI life cycle and things like that. For the auditor, you can see that ISACA has also started creating. ISACA is the leading organization in risk, IT risk, and they've created a certification for you to consider. For the security engineer, you can start with the basic security certifications and then take some courses on Microsoft or any other platform that has things for you there. We have you need to understand AI machine learning principles, secure machine learning operations, adversarial machine learning and model robustness, incident response, strategic thinking, problem solve, all those kind of skills. So these are the necessary skills that you need to have for as a specialist. These are some skills you need to have. Some are online, some are free. IAPP is one of the biggest certifications for AI governance and a lot of materials online there. If I am able to get more, I can add them some courses into the platform for you. Otherwise, you can just click these links and be able to go to those locations there. And then, of course, as a risk manager, we've defined what they do. The certifications, you can do the Certified AI Risk Manager program, and you have courses on Coursera. We have technical skills that you need to have, non-technical skills. For the data ethicist, the skills you need to have, the same IAPP comes up here, data literacy, and all those kind of skills that we need to have. And then these courses change regularly, and they are necessary for you to know them and to be able to build these skill sets. Of course, again, you need to decide your niche. You don't necessarily need to have all these skills. The AI program manager one is missing here. But I think if you are able to do the risk manager program, have an understanding of cybersecurity and take some good cybersecurity AI product management courses, that will put you in a very, very good place. Okay, so in conclusion, it is a reality that AI is here to stay, and the EU law is one that is going to drive that. So we have windows over the next few years. This is not something that you can say you're going to do next year or no, because by that time, many people will have gotten the skill. The earlier you can do it, the better. I would say now, get the skill. We have 4 months to the end of the year. And if you want to connect with me, you have contact details to connect with me, and I'm happy to guide you on how to plan your career and the necessary steps you should take. Thank you for joining this class, and I know that you have been helped. It would be nice for you to give comments and share your thoughts on this. Bye for now.